Okay, good morning, everyone. So, Parshat Tezaveh, can you think of any other topic that goes through five Parshios? And the topic, of course, is the building of the Mikdash. Just to summarize the five Parshios, Truma was all about the different kalim of the Mikdash, building them. Then the Tetzaveh starts off with the oil, Shemen Zayedach, the pure oil for lighting the menorah. And then it gets into what? Big Day Kodesh, the Kohanim, and the different begadim that they're supposed to wear, the Mishpatzot Zahav, the Avanim, the Choshen Mishpat, and how it was decorated with all the different stones that sits of the Kohen. And then how to go ahead and bring Kedusha and designate the Kohanim. So a beautiful, beautiful parsha about the Big Day Kahuna, getting the Kohanim all ready for this beautiful task, which Mitzvah Hashem will be carrying all this out from here. So Truma Tetzaveh and Kitisa V'Yakab B'Kudah is carrying out what was commanded in Truma and Tetzaveh. Okay, and Kitisa, you have a little bit besides the horrors of the Egel and Kitisa. Still, you do have Kafra Bisamim Rosh, about the Besamim in the Mikdash, the Shemen Mishchat Kodesh, and anointing the different Kalim in the Mikdash. So, Betzalel ben Iri ben Hor, who was involved in all this, making the Shulchan, the Kelav, the Menorah, the Keleha, Mizbeach HaKetores, Mizbeach HaOlam. So, Kitisa is also filled out with this topic. And then, of course, Vayakav Agudei, where they actually made the Kalim and the Begadim. So 5 Parshios. So we started a topic last week, and we mentioned that you have 2 kinds of psukim in the Torah. 2 kinds of psukim in the Torah. You have a pasuk in the Torah, Zachos Yom Shema Lekadsho, which tomorrow night we're going to be following the pasuk and make Kiddush. And in 2 months from now, a few months, even less, we're going to have what? Pesach. So it says not to chametz, we're not going to chametz. Then you have the stories of the Tanakh about what happened and with the copper staff and how it stopped the Nachashim from biting them. And we learn lessons from this story. Adam Machav, we learn lessons. So you have lessons that we learn. They never lachal. What are the 3 words? That's the base of these 5 parshios. Va'atzuli Mikdash. What do those 3 words mean? Are they some kind of legendary Agadita type words? Or are they words telling you build a Mikdash? Is that a crazy question? So we start off with that question last week. What? Tachlis what? Build a Mikdash. So what is going on? So you may argue that, come on, it can't be that it means build a Mikdash and we're just neglecting it. Could it really be? Well, it could be because we were in exile for thousands of years. And what's the famous expression? You can take a Jew out of exile. Can't take exile out of a Jew. And it could be. We became exiled Jews. And for 1,000 years, it was not a question of building the Mikdash. The Romans are in charge of the country. The Greeks are in charge of the country. The Ottomans are in charge of the country. The British are in charge of the country. No one's going to let us build the Mikdash. It's just not relevant. And it's possible. Is it possible that maybe when it becomes relevant again, supposedly we have sovereignty here, supposedly. So then, wait, it's our land. So then shouldn't that be a question? So is it possible that we just were so exiled physically and mentally that it just didn't come about as a serious halachic shayla? And now it has to be resurrected. So there's a range of opinions here. As you can imagine, the most famous one is Rashi in Rosh Hashanah and Rashi in Gemara Sukkah that says the Mikdash is going to fall from the Shamayim. There's a Rashi like that. Everyone loves to quote the Rashi. Okay, is it truly a Rashi? It's a real Rashi. Is that the final word in the sugya? Rashi means that that's it. There's no mitzvah to build because it's going to fall from Shamayim. That's his conclusion. You can argue how to learn that Gemara and the Rashi, but people have definitely gravitated towards it because it's just so easy. We're going to have to start dealing building a Mikdash. What are the people going to say? What's the world going to say? Humans, you can have animal sacrifice. What's the UN going to say? That peace-loving, ethical organization. It's a good question. Good question. What's going to be? But everyone gravitates towards that Rashi. I don't deny the Rashi exists. I don't deny that maybe he did mean it literally, but like that's the beginning and the end of the sugya. Rambam, other sources, and then others say that Rambam does in one place say the Mashiach is going to build it, and another place he doesn't write that way. It's a serious topic, like any topic, and anyone that just jumps to one source and hangs on to one source, to me, it means you're not so interested in the topic. You're just looking to pull that source that fits your approach and your agenda. No, it never should never be that way. Every topic we look into, we should be looking to explore the topic. Okay, and that's what we have to do here. So I have an amazing article, and I want to introduce you to someone very special. Yes, you want?
I just wanted to say maybe Rashi didn't mean literally, maybe.
Great question. Did Rashi mean it literally? And it talks about God doing a lot of things. Okay, so I don't know about you guys this morning, but I went ahead and I put on my socks and my shoes. And he said, Danny Myers, that's really good. You didn't need your mother. You didn't need your mother to help you. That's very impressive. So, but wait a second. It says Baruch Atah Hashem Malbish. It says that God dresses me, not me. So what does that mean? And wait a second. I got out of the bed. I put on my belt. And we say all the brachos together now in davening. But all of those brachos are supposed to be said when originally? As you do the action, as you sit up. So kaif kufufim. As you get dressed, malbish arumim. It was confusing for people, and therefore the minhag developed. We just do them all together. But ideally, it was originally supposed to be as you do the deed. So you connect the action and the bracha. For whatever reason, we stopped doing that. The Rambam said there's a minhag to do it all together, and it's wrong, the minhag. He says, no, the bracha and the deed, which makes sense because look what happened. The minhag developed not like the Rambam, and how many people even know that the bracha was even connected to that specific act? I know they have koach, malbish arumim when you get dressed. Okay, kafufim. What? When you open your eyes. Funny you thought about that, bracha. But I opened my eyes. I didn't open my eyes. I got dressed. But what? Oh, so is that what Rashi means? Not that literally God's bringing it down. Or maybe not. So I'm not going to say there's not different ways to learn the Rashi. The main thing is you have to learn the complete sugya. So often people are not good researchers and they just find sources, whatever, Zionism, God's divine providence, whatever topic it is, a true researcher, he takes his premises, a priori premises, just puts them aside. I want to learn. That's it. And you can have people very mystical and you want to introduce them to, let's say, divine providence and show some of the other sources that divine providence is more complex. It's not so simple. What do you mean? Everything is Parshat. There's even a book called There's No Such Thing as Coincidence. Everything is Parshat, right? You missed the bus, you did this, you did everything that happened. This fell over, that fell over, I dropped my pen. Everything is Parshat. There's some interesting sources that seem to say differently. And then you'll have the Maimonidean camp who are very philosophical and they know the Mamam and the Monavuchim, the Guide to Perplex, which seems to say you have to earn God's providence. Not everything is Parshat. But they won't be so open to hear some Gemaras that seem to say that everything is Parshat. So do you want to study the topic? You want to just pick out the sources that appeal to you. To be a real good researcher, that is not easy at all. A big Tzioni, is he ready to read Rav Satmar Rebbe's writings and really hear them out? Is a Samach Chassid ready to read Rav Kook? So the average person usually is not. But a true researcher, I just want to learn. It means changing my opinions. I'll change my opinion. There's a great story in the great Farakoi story. So you guys will enjoy it. Rav Yankala, the Silitzer Stiebel on beach night. That's right. So I used to daven in Mincha Mariv Okay. And once I heard Rav Yankele, the Silchers, the Rav, I don't know if he's still around or not. If he is, he had a lot of Arichos Yamai. Mistam, his son Rav Yankel's the Rebbe. He must be in his 60s now. And I remember he gave shir on, Shadim and the Ruach Ra and this and that. I went over to Mevs. I said, you should just to Rav Yankel with a nice relationship. Just, the Rambam doesn't hold that there's anything called, Ruach Ra and all this kind of stuff. And this Mitchell says, are you serious? I said, yeah. I said, I'm not saying what you said is wrong. It's maybe the majority opinion. Just want to let you know, it's friends. It's to let you know there's a fascinating Rambam at the end of Perkid Aleph, Nechutz Vadazar. He looks at it. He said, no, it can't be. It can't be. He looks at it. He says, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Then I showed him the Gra that attacks the Rambam. So there, if this person wasn't a real researcher, he'd be excited that the Gra is on his side and he rips apart the Rambam. That's not what Rav Yankel said. He said, how does a Gra speak that way against the Rambam? How does he do that? How do you use that language against the Rambam? Is it really the Gra who said it? There's a whole controversy. It was really the Gra, not on the Shulchan Aruch, who said that. But that's a person seeking emes. For 40 years, he only had one way. All of a sudden, Joe Schmo tells him that there's a Rambam. And wow, Marius, Danny Marius, thank you so much for telling me that. That's fascinating. He's thirsty to learn. So in the Mikdash, we should be just thirsty. What is the sugya? For 2,000 years, we've been out of the Mikdash topic, and we all just sort of became past it. Is it because that's correct? That's how it is? God's going to be from Shemaim, or the different kinds of sources? So we're going to learn a little bit from Yosef Elbaum, who probably is not recognized by anyone here. He, to me, is one of the great heroes of our generation. He's a Belzer Chassid who already over half a century has been going off to our bias. He has 15 kids. Everyone told him, you are not going to be able to marry any of your kids off. It's a crazy thing you're doing. You're putting yourself outside of the pale. He married Hashem families. Everyone married into his family. He must be 70s, 80 now. And he wrote an article years ago, Chidush Havoda Bisman Hazeh. Okay? Renewing the Avoda today. And he wrote this about 40 years ago or so. And it's a fantastic article. He goes to the Sigya. And those who challenge him, which is great. That's what Gemara is all about. Learning a topic, bringing up points, challenging. That's the whole shas. That's what it is. Good, healthy arguments. We like good arguments. As long as it's a Shem Shamayim, two people are simply looking for what? MS. That's it. So he says the following. Hanosei, on the one hand, topic that I know it's up a line we really have not brought this topic up like we should. Okay. And he says you have a lot of different approaches over here. And he says, okay. Kishlish, sorry. Shlish, mitzvah saseh. Shivim v'shisha, 76 from the assays that are connected directly to the Mikdash and the mitzvahs related to the Mikdash. And that's just directly Mikdash halachas, Korban, Binyan Mikdash. But then you have Tuma, Tahara, Kahuna, the Kedusha Mechitzot, Onshe Beistin, that the Onshim of Beistin, which we don't have today, because that you need the Sanhedrin. And the Sanhedrin exists only when you have the 73 where by the Makom HaMikdash, Lishchas HaGazis. You have more than 200 mitzvahs connected to this topic. And he says you have a whole range of opinions. Okay, you have those Mitzad Sheni, if you go to Rishafim Hagdarot, the further we get away from Sinai, people stay away because of the politics. Those who stay away for Ashkafa reasons, halachic reasons. And therefore, for so many people, there's 3 words that summarize the whole approach to the Beit Mikdash. What is that? Shave v'al ta'aseh. What does that mean? Just wait. Who remembers growing up in States 40, 50, 60 years ago? Greyhound. Leave the driving to us. Just God will take care of it. He'll take care of it. You just learn, you do your mitzvahs, you have all your chesed organizations, and the fact that we're missing a third of the Torah, God will take it. Don't shave al tasa. And not only shave al tasa, he says, baf al tidaber al tachshov. Not only not build the Mikdash, don't even talk about it, because that might lead chas v'shalom to a serious decision. That's right. That's very good. That's right. That's right. So Yavo Bal Habira V'Yivnei Birato. V'Yired Len Lanu B'Nuyam Shekol Mishmar. Let God take care of it. It will come down from Shemayim, and all will be well. That's what's happened here. And he says, let's look at the sugya. Let's look at the sugya. So he says, so Rav Elbaum, naturally, he's going to go in a direction. If he's ascending the Harabayas every few days or weeks or whenever he gets up, obviously that's where he's coming from. But who cares if he's coming from that framework? Let's see the sources. I don't care if you're coming from a Satmar source, this sort, but let's see the sources. What can you go ahead? What sources can you show to show this way to prove that way? So he says, simple pshat. Ein shem yachad Rashi lifto atzmo ben achavo mutalot ala tzibor. He says it's hard to say that a person can exempt himself from a mitzvah of the tzibor. Chayv kol achleel b'tzibor osim. Him ain't tzibor, and he says you should be part of the tzibor. I'm not going to build the shul. I'm not going to build the base medrash. I'm not going to build the mikvah. I don't have anything to do with anything. What do you mean you're part of the tzibor? Mitzvahs on a tzibor you have to do. I'm not going to be part of the area. What do you mean? You're part of a tzibor. There's mitzvahs connected to that. Mitzvah tzibor. Each one is a yachid, and he has to be part of the mitzvahs of the tzibor. And therefore, that's not really to say, well, even if there's a mitzvah, it's not for me. You're part of a tzibor. That is not an exemption, that approach. Ein bet. Ein lecha mitzvah min ha-mitzvah she'kiyuma menoa legamre efshari rak ayidei davar shechutz lateva enoshi. He says there's no concept of a mitzvah that's outside of the laws of nature. That's not accessible. We don't have mitzvahs like that. All the mitzvahs we have, down here that are for us to do. And we don't have a concept of a mitzvah that's totally on what? Mashiach. We only have this mitzvah, Mashiach. Where do we have such a thing? Or a Navi. There's a Seder mitzvot, okay, and there's an order, but to go into that waits for another period in history. We just don't have that, he's claiming. Divrei Agadah. What's Agadah? You have two parts of Shas. One part of Shas is what? Halachic Gemara discussions, which is the majority of what everyone learns in yeshivas around the world day to day. In elementary school, high school, post-high school yeshivas, everyone learns Gemara. And what's halacha in this case, in that case, and what's your svara, and what's his svara, and back and forth and back and forth. Okay, in our early morning shiur, we're doing Gemara Ksuvos. So the Gemara there is discussing how do you ascertain who is a Kohen, which back in the Mikdash times means that based on that, you could go ahead and elevate him to do avodah in the Mikdash. So the Yisum go ahead and get the first Li in the shul. Oh, do we now assume, he got the first Li? Apparently they treat him as a Kohen. That's it. That's a chazak of Kohen. Oh no, do you need proper aid? What do you need? Good shayla. Then you have a whole nother type of section in Shas. What's that called? Agadah. Agadita, which means stories, midrashim, legends, which are more Musar oriented. Learn a lesson from it, and is not dafka what? Halacha l'maisa. So he says, Divrei Agadah even in liftom min mitzvos. You can't go ahead and take Agadah, some drasha, and then take that and use that to exempt yourself from the mitzvah. It just doesn't work. Agadah is Agadata, and halacha is halacha. Don't mix the two up and take some line. Let's say he's from here, falling from Shamaya. Whatever that line means, that can't remove yourself from a chiyuv. Just like Mabbi Sharomim doesn't take you away. Or when we put on tefillin and we say, "Ota Yisrael b'tefara." Also, just don't put on tefillin because Hashem will take it. What are you talking about? Whatever a shkafa is, that's a shkafa. Halacha. Then he goes on. Kol Safek Balacha is a fascinating point. Kol Safek Bahalacha ain bekoholim noa kiyum mitzvah. Wow. Okay, if you have enough sfekos, this doubt, that doubt, that doubt, you say, I have so many doubts, I have to just stay away from the whole topic because I just can't do it. I can't, it's just entering the lion's den here. And there's too many sfekos. I'll just stay away from the whole topic. Ki la'olam natun lach ra'a al pi darkei halacha shebiyad chachamim. V'shikol hadas. Hu me'ikar darkei halacha. That's part of the halachic process. V'makom b'zman she'ein beis t'shenidik l'achrir b'halacha. And if there's no base to going through the sugya, then each yachid has to do that and come to a conclusion. To give an example, did you ever hear of a case of a rabbi and telling a couple not to get married? Let's say she has some medical issues, and in terms of nida, and it's not so simple to work out nida and the timing and the months. Baby, just don't get married. What do you mean? We're going to figure it out. Or a woman is an aguna. We don't know where the guy is. So sometimes we're stuck. But every rabbi will leave no stone unturned to figure out a way to get her married again. Okay, sometimes there are tragic cases where they cannot find it, but they're going to look and look and look. And Rav Yosef, to his last living day, he was sick in bed. He got up to try to write tshuva to mata every aguna he could. So halacha figures out ways. Doesn't mean it's 100% ironclad, but to go ahead and say, okay, we have a few fakos over here, the whole sugya is gone. 200 mitzvahs, we're just going to have to wait. Because we have all these fakers of how to build a Mikdash and this guy and that kind of stone, and who could build it? Nah, let's just, the whole enterprise is just off. He says, halacha doesn't work that way. Halacha doesn't work that way. And notice, so he says it could be you have some technical issues, and that's just going to knock us out of a whole sugya. And he says, therefore, based on all of these premises that he has, but how the halachic system works, we're going to go through this sugya. And we'll have to try to go ahead and make sense of it and treat this sugya of asuli mikdash like any other sugya. And not go ahead and say, oh, we have too many mistakes, let's just leave it. Oh, you know what? Jesus, there's agadata words, and that's just, they're telling us just leave it alone. He says, no, that's not how we work with any other sugya. That can't be the case here. And then he gets into it. He pulls up his sleeves and he gets to work. And we can't go into all the details now at all, but just to mention, topic 1, Va'asuli Mikdash. What does that pasuk from our parsha mean? Topic 2, Kanisa Betumah L'Harabayis. It's a Kira Binyan. Want to go ahead and get the building going. So what go in when we're talking is allowed, not allowed. Okay. Wait, do we know the place where the mizbeach is? How do we do that? Binyan mizbeach havanim. How do you build the mizbeach? Mizbechot she'enim shel havanim. Can you have a mizbeach not from stone? Hishtachavai v'aktara nocha kipas hasela. Wait, you were joking around before about the golden dome is there. So let's say we can manage to build a mizbeach, but world fresher than that, we can't go ahead and get rid of the golden dome. Can I go ahead and do hashchachai, bow down, and there's a golden dome there? That's halachic shaila. He deals with this. Everything's halachic shaila. The same way we're going to deal with the question, how do we ascertain who's a Kohen? The Gemara and Ksuvas that we're learning now. How do you go ahead and know what bracha to make on a papaya? He's going to halachic sugya. This is halachic sugya. So to me, it's a magnificent tshuva. We just got the headings of it, but the basic idea is, how do we approach halach in general? And then how do we approach the sugya? And he gives us the 4 or 5 topics he's going to deal with. The Mikdash, the Mizbeach, the Makom Mizbeach, how to build the Mizbeach, bringing korbanos, bowing down, but we bowing down in a weird place. We have some golden dome. Or what is that golden dome? It's idolatrous, not idolatrous. Can you bow down when there's a foreign object there? That's halachic sugya. So he's paving the path for us to go through the sugya. Whether the person likes his conclusion or not doesn't, you can imagine his conclusion. Obviously, he's pro. But I don't care if you don't like it or not. Argue with it. But how do you argue? With halachic sources. You hear? So I think in these parshas, these 5, the Fab Five, Parshios, on the Mikdash, we should be thinking about the Mikdash. We should be learning about the Mikdash. We should be davening for the Mikdash more than the rest of the year. Always we should be, but hopefully these Parshas should inspire us. Mitzvah Hashem, by learning about it, davening for it, Mitzvah Hashem will be zocheh from Yemenu to have it. Okay.